in charge of public health issues at the UN, based here in the Secretariat in New York. And I just wanted to welcome all of you. We decided to start this initiative because from the Global Health Challenge, where people were downloading their app and then monitoring their fitness, we just saw that there was a lot of interest in health and wellness activities, and we actually asked if anyone would be interested to sign up as health and wellness champions. And so, we have about 200 people that were interested. So from the 200, we've invited all of you to this talk. And so it's just really for the people that express interest to kind of be health and wellness ambassadors. So, we haven't really fully developed the program, and this is just some initial ideas that we wanted to do, like as kind of a speaker series for everyone. And then going forward, we would love to get more feedback from you all, how we can work together on health and wellness issues for the UN. So just to introduce myself, so I'm a physician by training. My background is in public health, epidemiology, and infectious diseases. So my team right now is super busy with COVID. But at the same time, we also have a mandate in our section to look at health and wellness, chronic diseases, health prevention. And that's why we came up with programs like the Global Health Challenge. So there's two parts of our work. One part is the infectious disease part, and then the other part is the chronic disease and health promotion part. So today's talk obviously is about how to prevent chronic diseases through eating well and eating healthy. So with that, I think we'll get started. Mike, can you just pull up the presentation here? So just make sure, Mike, I don't see your screen. Are you able to share the presentation? Okay, great, thank you. So the way that we're going to do this and start this series is I've called it a public health conversation series because I really want it to be something that we can talk with our speakers and then with all of you as well. So next slide, please. So kind of explaining to you how the presentation will work, I will first kind of present a couple of slides on the principles of a healthy diet. And then we have an expert with us that I will have a dialogue with and a conversation with, Dr. Deborah Haiat. And then I'll share more resources with you. And then we can go on to question and answers as well. If we have time, we will have about 45 minutes to 50 minutes together. Next slide, please. So just to kick us all off and to get us all understanding kind of the basics of a healthy diet, WHO actually presents us with 5 keys to a healthy diet. We're going to hear much more about this from Dr. Deborah later, but what are the 5 keys? So I think all of this is common sense, we understand it, and all this will help to prevent obesity, prevent health problems going forward. So the first is to really eat moderate amounts of fat and oils, use unsaturated fats as possible, and we'll talk more about that. Secondly is to eat less salt, less sugar. We know that salt and sugar is just not great for us, contributes to a lot of diseases, and it's really important to use less of both. Next slide, please. The third point relates to breastfeeding. So, breastfeeding babies, especially exclusively for the first 6 months, is a foundation for life, all of life. And so WHO's recommendation is to really try to breastfeed your children, at least for the first 6 months of life exclusively. That sets them up for a great nutritional and health foundation. The fourth is to eat a variety of foods. I know there are some diets out there where it's, some certain types of food are restricted and all that. But in general, obviously eating a variety is very important. And then lastly, everyone knows this, eat plenty of vegetables and fruits. Next slide, please. For some of you who are aware of this whole food pyramid thing, especially if there are clinicians or medical people among us. So many years ago, especially in the US, they developed this food guide pyramid, but it was found to be quite complicated. People didn't understand it very well, at different servings. And also in 2011, the US government changed this to use this My Plate now. And so you can see it's just much simpler. It's a plate. It tells you proportion-wise, half of your plate should be fruits and vegetables, a quarter should be grains, and then a quarter protein, and then you have dairy as well. Next slide, please. And then finally, I just wanted to touch a little bit on the physical activity recommendations. We will have a separate talk just all about exercise and physical activity. We won't really cover that a lot today. But just to say that, WHO and the CDC as well have both very clear recommendations on how much activity is really needed. So for adults, our age range 18 to 64, you should do at least 150 minutes a week over the whole week of moderate intense activity. But on top of that, it's really important to remember that at least 2 days a week, you need activities that strengthen your muscles, okay? So cardiovascular is not enough. You also need kind of weights and things like that to balance that out. A lot of people forget about that. So that's super important. There's also recommendations for children and then younger children as well. But again, we won't talk too much about this. We will have a different seminar for this. So I think that's it. I'm gonna move over to the conversation piece and dialogue with Dr. Deborah, but so welcome, Dr. Haiat, and thank you for agreeing to do this with us. So as a start, first question up for you is, can you just tell us more about your background? And you're a physician, and how do you get interested in nutrition? And what is your experience around, helping people with nutritional issues?
So good morning, everyone. I say good morning because I'm based in New York, so I guess people in Europe are already late in the day. I'm French, so you forgive me for my accent. I'm sorry, I hope you will understand me. So I'm a physician. I study and graduate in Paris, and I worked over there around like maybe 10, 15 years before we moved to London with my husband. And then we moved here in New York 3 years ago. So I study medicine, I'm a general practitioner. And while I was studying, I also graduate with 2 masters in nutrition. This is something I've got interested in since a very young age. So maybe because I'm French and then nutrition and healthy food is part of our life. And I work as a physician with eating disorder patient, so anorexia, bulimia, things like that. So it was more young adults and teenagers. So I was a referent, so building diets, monitoring their intake, monitoring their health as well, because it's very important. And I was also a medical director in a health network where I was in charge of diabetic and overweight patients.
Great, thanks so much, Deborah. So, you have lots of, not just academic experience, but also, kind of real life experience with patients, with people, advising them and stuff. So, what I was sharing just now was basically kind of the theoretical, right, with WHO standards and stuff. But I'd like to hear from you, from your experience. What does a healthy diet look like to you?
Yeah.
Can you just give us more?
Yeah, sure.
Describe more of that. Yeah.
So I would say, if you don't have any medical condition and you don't want to lose weight or gain weight, you should eat everything. You don't have to do any restriction. If you're healthy, you can eat everything. And basically, the American Choose My Plate design is really, really helpful. Your plate should be divided really in 3-4 parts. So half of your plate should be grains, so it's carbs. Quarter of your plate. Quarter of your plate should be protein, but it could be a meatless protein and it could be animal protein. And half of your plate, or more even, should be fruit and veg. You have to be very careful with what we call free sugar. It's like candies, it's in snack, it's in drinks, so you have to track them. They are hidden in food, so be very, very careful with that. Be careful also with salt. So when you cook, don't add too much salt when you cook, and just taste your food, and then if you need, you can add some salt. But be careful with that, because we know that salt is not very healthy. It can cause damages on your health. So this is one of the limits. And one last advice I would say is fat and oil. So you don't cut on that. It's very important, because your cell, your brain need fat to function, to be healthy and to grow. So I don't say eat a lot of oil, but just limit it to 20%, 30% of your intake daily, but you have to eat some oil and fat. Then, do you want me to go through all the meals of the day?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
that's a great idea. Yeah, if you could kind of walk through,
a daily
meals, what you suggest.
Yeah, a daily intake. So breakfast is what we say the most important meal of your day, because you break the fast from the night. So you should be very hungry and thirsty when you wake up in the morning. If you have a good breakfast, we can be quite sure that your day will be okay. You will have your breakfast, and then you will have 2 main meals, lunch and dinner, and you should not need to snack in between those meals. So breakfast, usually you have a source of carbs. So it could be bread, it could be rice if you live in Asia, it could be muesli. I mean, it's really up to you. Then you should have a dairy. It could be yogurt, it could be milk, it could be cheese. And if you can, and if you like it, because it's really dependent on you, you can have an intake of protein. So it could be salmon, it could be smoked fish, it could be eggs. And if you have a fruit, a fresh fruit, also it's a good intake, because you will have vitamins, you will have fibers, and then your breakfast is complete. So just one thing about the fruit. If you drink an orange juice, for example, even if you squeeze it in the morning, you will need more than 1 orange, for example, to fill up your cup of orange juice. So you will have 2, 3, 4 orange in a cup. It's a lot of sugar. If you squeeze your juice, you will lose most of the vitamins, and you will not have any fibers. Fibers are very, very important for your bowels and for your digestion. So it's better to eat 1 portion of fruit, raw fruit, than to squeeze an orange juice, or to have it like a compote or something like that. So when you choose and you plan your meal, try to transform the nutriment the less. So eating raw vegetables and raw fruit is always better than when you cook them. Then, when you have your lunch and your dinner, and you don't want to lose any weight, I think it's quite the same. 1/4 of your plate should be a protein, 1/4 should be grain or carbs. So it could be potatoes, rice, pasta, lentils, chickpeas, corn, whatever you like. Then half of your plate should be vegetables. You can have a dairy and you can have a fruit, of course. What else can I say? Do you think it's enough, or you want me to develop more? Maybe on how you cook the, maybe how you cook the potatoes, for example. It's a good idea to talk about that. So when you cook your potato with the skin on and you steam it, the intake will be better for your health than when you boil a potato with no skin and you mash it after, because you will break all the potatoes, all the carbs in the potatoes in free sugar when you boil it and when you cut it and you mash it. And if you cook it with the skin, it will be protected, and the fibers, the carbs, and the vitamin will stay in the potatoes, and it will be better for your health. When you choose rice, for example, it would be better if you can have like whole rice, brown rice, instead of white rice, and don't overcook it. That's the same principle.
So, so yeah, that's very interesting, kind of the cooking process. So would you say that, in general that, we and this leads to also my question about processed food. I mean, processed food means that it's been transformed so much
Exactly. Yeah.
that it's away from its original version, correct?
Yes, exactly. So even when you buy something, try to buy it the less transformed form of it. So when you buy, when even if you want to be quick when you cook, try to buy, even if it's frozen, don't buy already prepared food. It's better to buy like washed and peeled vegetables frozen than to buy a can of mashed potatoes, for example, or a can of corn or a can of beans. It's always better to buy it raw, and then you cook it your way. In that way, you can be able to control the fat you put in, the salt you put in, the sugar you put in, and you can have a healthier diet.
So one question I have relates to kind of cooking as well, because nowadays with the fast-paced life, it's hard to find time to cook. But I mean, I think you would definitely we hear a lot of recommendation that people would say it's better to just cook at home than to order in and eat out all the time. Correct?
Yeah. So my piece of advice for that would be plan your meals ahead. So I don't know, once a week you say, okay, I'm going to sit, I'm going to write whatever we will eat during the week. I know with COVID, people are staying more at home. And so you have the kids doing class on Zoom and everything. So you don't have too much time to cook. So if you plan everything, it will be so much easier on a day-to-day basis. So you write down basically what you want to buy, and then you buy what you need to cook. So you don't have to ask yourself, okay, it's 7 o'clock, kids are hungry, what I'm going to cook. So this is the thing. Then in your pantry, you have to have, a few things that you use regularly. So a box of rice, a pack of pasta, potatoes can stay weeks in your pantry. You can have, frozen bread. You can make your bread, of course, but you can have bread frozen and sliced, so you can have it outside your freezer. Had some meat, some fish that are not cooked, just like raw thing. You freeze it and you have it in your freezer, easy to defrost in the morning, so you can cook it easily in the evening. So the main advice will be plan ahead.
All right, sounds great. Thank you. Another question I have with regards to kind of diets. You hear of so many different kind of diets, and there's like fads and all that. And for people who really want to try to lose weight, kind of what is the best diet to follow right now, or should they even follow any diet?
So In my practice, I saw many people coming and saying, okay, my goal for this summer is to lose 10 pounds, 15 pounds, I don't know. Okay. So the first thing, if you want to go on a diet, is to have a realistic goal. Don't try to go lower than your weight, the weight that is better for you. So this is the first thing. So be realistic. Then when you want to lose weight and you want to maintain the weight loss, you have to take your time. If you do a very strict restriction, you will lose weight for sure. But as soon as you will lift this restriction, because you can't keep a restriction for very, very long time, then you will regain your weight and you will put more weight on, because your body was starving when you were in restriction. So the cells keep in memory that they were starving. So now each time you're going to give them food, they're going to take it and keep it inside, and the cells will grow and grow and grow, and then you will put more weight on. Then if you can see a doctor, a nutritionist, someone to help you build your diet, it will be, I think, easier to follow and easier to maintain over the time. Then what we can say is that if you want to lose weight, you should also prepare ahead, plan your meals, and have your 3 main meals per day. This is, I mean, the most basic advice we can give. You can cut a bit on carbs, because this is the nutriment who will give you weight, but don't cut the carbs totally, because you need some carbs. This is the fuel of your body, so you need energy to live, to breathe, to talk, to move, and everything. So if you cut all the carbs, you will not be able to maintain your diet for, I mean, this regimen for a long time. And then eat a lot of things. Don't cut on oil, on, you know, what we said at the beginning. So you need fat. It's a good fuel for your body as well. So eat vegetables, eat fruits, eat a bit of carbs, not too much, but a bit in the morning and for lunch. Eat protein. So protein, you should go for what we call a lean protein. So it's more like chicken, turkey, fish, which are really, really interesting because of the fats they bring. So it's omega-3, omega-6, which are really good. And always choose to buy unprocessed and transform food, so you can cook it your way, and you can have the hand on the fat and the sugar and the salt you put in your plate. And I think we can talk also about drinking. So water is very important. You need to drink. So it can be like plain water. It can be water flavored with citrus, with cucumber, but it can be a herbal tea, it can be coffee, but don't buy like energy drinks or iced tea or things like that, because they are full of sugar, and you won't lose any weight if you drink this kind of sugar, even if you are very, very precautionous on the other part of what you eat. But sugar in the drinks are really like monsters. they have hidden sugar, and it can be really difficult to lose weight drinking that kind of stuff.
What do you think about the recent trend for intermittent fasting? Is that something helpful? And we hear that is helpful for the body, and we know that many religions also do fasting, and in general, is that something that you would recommend?
So the principle of intermittent fasting is that you alternate period of fast and period of eating, and usually you eat like 6 to 8 hours a day, and the rest of the day you are fasting. So there is not really medical proof that this kind of diet is working more than another one of another diet. So it's what can I mean, it's a type of diet. It's not better than another one, but for sure it's not the best way to lose weight. Some people will do that intermittent fasting every day of the week. Others will say, okay, I'm going to fast 1 or 2 days per week and eat normally the rest of the time. But I mean, it's not a miracle. You will not be super healthy. And it's not something I will recommend in my practice. This is not the kind of diet I like to offer to my patients.
Then how about the opposite in terms of snacking? Because we know, like, for example, here in the US, there's a lot of snacking. A lot of people actually just snack rather than eat.
Yeah.
But, like in your country, in France, I understand that people are like, they stick to the 3 meals a day, no snacking. So how does snacking affect like the body and all?
So, I mean, snacking can be interesting if you need, if you can't take your meals on a regular basis. So, for example, you have your lunch at 12 and you won't have your dinner before 9 p.m. In that case, yes, you can snack. But if you want to snack, you have to choose what to eat. So, chocolate bar, crackers, like again, energy drinks, things like that, they are not good snack. If you want to snack, the same thing as for your meals, you have to prepare your snack. So you can take a fresh fruit with 2 biscuits, for example. It's a really good snack. You can take a yogurt with a biscuit. It's okay. You can have some nuts. It's okay also. But if you snack, you have to ask yourself, was my meal rich enough in the morning or for lunchtime? If your meal is too light, you will need to snack because you need energy to work and to have your day. But usually if you snack at let's say 5-6 p.m., you will not be very hungry for dinner, and then you will not eat too much, and then you will need to snack again. So it's better to have really consistent and comprehensive meal instead of snacking. But if your meals are more than 4 or 5 hours apart, you can have a snack, but a balanced one. So the best thing is not to buy sugary snack and have, a pack of nuts and dry fruit, for example, in your bag. It can be like an apple, a banana, easy to take with you to work. It can be a yogurt, but not unflavored. I would say it's better, of course. So things like that, just plan ahead again and be sure to have what is good for your health in your bag.
So just going along with diet, there are a lot of people that do the keto diet. I don't know. I think that's high protein diet. And
yeah.
Is that again something that, I think that many times a lot of these diets are really trying to restrict the calories in general.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like when they say no carbs, is really to help everyone like eat less basically by, kind of temporarily restricting a food group. But I think, like you say, long term, you cannot eat all kinds of food, basically.
Yeah, you cannot maintain a very restrictive diet.
Mm-hmm.
So for some people who are really fond of meat and protein, it will be easier to keep than some people who need other nutrients. So when you cut one part of your food, I mean, of course you will. I mean, not of course, but you might lose weight for sure because you don't have carbs, you don't have oil, usually you don't have things like that. But you will not feel very good. You need vitamins, you need minerals, you need sugar, you need a bit of everything to make your body function normally. So yes, it can be a Kickstarter, when you want to lose weight and you need to see on your balance that it's working. So maybe do that for 2-3 days, but after that you have to reintroduce a bit of carb, a bit of oil, just to be more healthy and to be able to maintain it. So again, I say to my patient, don't try to lose weight too quickly. You will not be able to maintain it, and it will be a disappointment, a frustration, and it's a vicious circle. So you don't have a good image of yourself, and then you will say, okay, I have to go back on a diet again, and it's always the same pattern. So it's really, really better to lose weight slowly, but to maintain it.
So talking about losing weight, I mean, do you think that is a diet more important or exercise more important in terms of what fact is the biggest factor to losing weight?
So basically they work together, but if you just exercise, you will not lose weight. But if you have a diet and you exercise in the meantime, of course, it will be very helpful. So exercise, even if you don't want to lose weight, exercise must be a routine for your everyday life. You have to walk. So I know that most of the people invited to this talk were part of the 10,000 steps per day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, walking is very important. Cardio activities like running, biking, swimming are very important. And muscular reinforcements are really helpful as well. So when you exercise, you will help build your muscle, build your bones. You will have a better heart, a better respiratory function. So it's very important to practice. And then when you are on a diet and you want to lose weight, exercise will help you burn the calories which are in excess in your body. So you will not lose weight, but it will help to shape your body and to use the energy which is in your body, and that is in top of what you really need for every day.
Mm-hmm. I know that a lot of people are vegetarian nowadays. Of course, people are vegetarian for different reasons. Could be health, could be religious reason. But I also do notice that people who are vegetarian don't necessarily kind of like lose weight as well. Is there a reason for that? Although eating vegetables is good, of course.
Yeah, I mean, when you are vegetarian, you will find protein in other type of food. So it will not be animal protein, but vegetal protein. Mm-hmm. And it's not because you are vegetarian that you're going to lose weight. It's nothing like that. But mm-hmm. when you are vegetarian, you have to be very vigilant on your intake of vitamin, of minerals, and on protein. So when you eat quinoa, when you eat lentils, when you eat tofu, everything, all that kind of protein are very healthy, and you can be totally fine, and you can have a very healthy life and a healthy body eating vegetable protein. But it's not in a way to lose weight. I mean, I don't think so. It's just because of your way of life, and it's perfectly okay, and it's perfectly, I mean, it's very healthy way to eat. But also when you are a vegetarian, you will not cut on oil, you will not cut on carbs, you will not cut on vegetables, on fruit. So it's another type of diet, but it's very healthy also. Yeah.
So I'm seeing a lot of questions about oils in the chat, so we might as well address that.
Yeah.
So I have the same question. When you cook at home, like there's so many different kind of oils that to buy. Like, what is the best type of oil? And also, I think it depends on like how high your temperature is when you cook and things like that.
Yeah.
So what would you recommend? Yeah.
I think you should have a different type of oil at home. So because each kind of oil brings you some nutriment and different type of amino acids. So you should vary around the week, and you can have grapeseed oil, you can have olive oil, you can have sunflower oil, colza oil. And so in some countries, you can find oils which are a mix of other oils. So it's very good because you can have a bit of all the fat you are looking for. Usually we say don't heat too too high olive oil, because it can turn in bad, non very healthy fat. So I would recommend olive oil is more for seasoning, and so salad, or when you are finished cooking, just drizzle some olive oil. And the other one, you can use them to cook. It's better to use oil coming from vegetables, from vegetable parts, than oil coming from animal. So butter, duck fat, I don't know, like fat coming from the ghee, I think you call it, like, right? I don't know
pork,
pork oil. I mean, fat is not very healthy. So you should go for vegetable oil than animal oil when you cook.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. That's really helpful.
If I can add just something, when you should have the equivalent of a tablespoon of oil per meal. Okay, so it can be when you cook or when you do your seasoning. So for one adult, which is healthy, it's 1 tablespoon of oil for lunch and for dinner. Now, if you eat avocado, for example, in the morning, you can have avocado toast with egg, which is very healthy because you have a bit of oil. If you eat nuts, you will have some fat as well. So just keep in mind that if you eat that kind of food, don't add too much oil on your food when you're cooking, because you already have an intake of a source of oil.
Okay. Just to go on to another question, also related to dieting, I read that there's a lot of interest in something called intuitive eating. I'm not sure what that really is, but it seems like you kind of eat according to what your body is telling you to eat, because your body knows what nutrients it needs. So what do you think about that?
What I think, there is so many diets. I mean, I think there is as many diets as people you can find on internet and everywhere. So yes, I mean, eat what you like, of course. If you are not in a path where you want to lose weight or to put weight on, you can eat whatever you like, of course. Just keep in mind that you have to eat a bit of everything, because at the end of the day, if you cut on protein, or if you cut on carb, you will have it's a kind of restriction. So just be very careful about that. And when people are saying, yes, I mean, this is a diet that I do and it's perfectly fine for me. Yes, for this person, it could be perfectly fine. But ask yourself if this is really something that you can stick to. And if there is some restriction, or if you see that you're missing some nutriment, try to open a bit your diet. Don't be too restrictive. And healthy people eat a bit of everything.
All right, great. My next question relates to fruit. So, we all know that fruit is healthy, but at the same time, fruit has a lot of sugar as well. And I know that sometimes you also can't eat too much fruit because you get a lot of sugar there. Is there a need to really balance like amount of fruit we eat?
So fruits are healthy. I mean, they are natural. They give you natural sugar. Okay, it's not processed. It's not refined sugar. Now, when we talk about fruits, some fruits are less sweet than others. So all the red fruits like berries, strawberry, blueberries, raspberry, they are not very high sugar fruit. When you eat a fruit full of water, like watermelon, for example, they are not so sugary neither. But when you go to mangoes, to bananas, of course, there is more sugar in that. But it's a question of quantity. If you eat 1 banana per day, you're perfectly fine. If you eat 5-6 bananas per day, of course, you are too high in your sugar intake. If you love fruit, go for fruits which are not too sweet. So berries, it's perfect. Kiwis are very good. I don't know, watermelon, citrus, it's okay. it's not too much sugar, and it's really better than eating a snack or candies. Now, what I said at the beginning of the talk about juice. So people say, yeah, I'm very healthy. I drink a smoothie in the morning, and I put an orange, a banana, I put half an apple and half a mango. So this is very, very, very too much sugar, because if you eat the fruit, you will eat half of a mango, for example, or you will eat one banana. You will not eat all that kind of fruit, but because it is mixed and processed, you will eat more, way more sugar. So always eat your fruit, bite it, just peel it if you, of course, if it's an orange, but if you can eat the skin on, it's better, because all the vitamins are in the skin. So eat your apple instead of drinking an apple juice. Eat your orange instead of drinking an orange juice. So yeah, it's always better to eat your raw fruit than to have it processed. So fruit are not monsters, but try to eat 2-3 fruit per day, no more.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people who advocate like they drink smoothies in the morning. So are you saying that if the fruit is raw and all that, making it into a smoothie is also transforming it, or is that okay?
No, you transform it, because you lose most of the vitamin and you lose a lot of fibers, because you don't have the skin, the membrane, and things like that. And even if you will feel full more quickly because you drink it, the sugar in the fruit is already a free sugar, so it will go straight away in your blood. So your glycemia, the sugar level in your blood will raise very quickly. So you will feel good very quickly. But then your pancreas will secrete insulin, and you will have an hypoglycemia just after you have drink this kind of drinks. If you eat your fruit with the fiber, the digestion will be slower, and then the level of sugar in your blood will raise, but slowly, and you will not have this hypoglycemia coming after. So when you eat something with the skin, not processed, and you chew it, it's going to be better. Your brain will see that you are chewing, that you are starting eating, and then your brain will send a message to your stomach that, oh, I'm eating, so I'm going to feel full, and then I will have my digestion, and I will be okay to stay without any snack until my lunch.
So you're saying that because you are breaking down the food, let's say in a blender, that transforms it straight to sugar.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So it's just, so even let's say the whole banana, you're putting the whole banana in, but you're saying that just by putting it into the blender, it makes a difference.
Yeah, because your body will not have the same sensation. So if you peel your banana, you eat it, you're gonna how you say, you're gonna eat it. I mean, you're gonna start to have saliva coming in your mouth, when you chew, and then it's gonna send a signal to your brain that you are eating something. When you drink, it goes straight from the cup to your stomach. You don't chew, you don't produce saliva. So this is a mechanism your body needs to put on, and when you start this mechanism, you will feel the fullness, the satiety.
Yeah. Okay. And actually that brings me to a question about slow eating. So many people say that, to be healthier, you need to eat slowly, don't rush. And I know like the French are very good at taking long lunches and all that. So is that part of it? Like what you're saying, like because you're digesting slowly, you can, when you're full and all that?
Yeah, exactly. So we say that your brain needs 20 minutes to understand that you are eating. Mm-hmm. So if you want to have the best way to eat, you should be seated on a table, not working while eating a sandwich, for example. So seated with people, socializing, talking, and being aware of what you are eating. It's the best way to feel full and to eat less. So if you are eating in front of TV, for example, your eyes are watching the TV. So your brain is watching the TV and you are not aware of what you are eating. And studies say that if you are eating on your sofa watching a movie, you will eat 30% more than if you are seated on a table and be aware of what you are doing. Your brain needs 20 minutes to feel that fullness. So that's why in France, it's very important to be seated, to have your lunch break. I know that Americans, they eat in front of their computer, like in 10 minutes. But in France, you're going to see if you go to work in a company, everyone is stopping to work. They have their lunch break. It's very important and you can't cut on that. And this is part of a healthy diet. So when you are with your kids, for example, don't put them in front of the TV and just give them a plate of pasta or a TV platter. So sit with them at the table, have them talk about their day, talk about what you did, talk what you're doing tomorrow, talk about their friend. And then they're going to be aware of what they are eating, and it's going to be less intake, and your brain will be better, and your stomach will be full, and you will be perfectly okay with that.
Mm-hmm. And then talking about kind of eating time. So I hear that everyone says that it's not good to eat late at night, like after 8 p.m. or something like that. So how does eating and sleep kind of impact each other?
So there is not really a cutoff at the time you should stop eating. It depends, because people can go to bed at midnight, for example. So eating after 8 is perfectly okay. The best advice is to have your dinner at least 2 hours before going to bed. And usually when you have your dinner, you won't have a very important activity after that. So that's why we say at dinner time, try to eat more vegetables and lean protein than carbs, for example. We say also that a dairy could be very helpful because of the amino acid they give you. So dairy can help you to find your sleep. And a hot drink could be a good thing too, because you're going to warm up your body. And when you warm up a bit your body, you're going to fall asleep easily. So that's the thing. Now, we know that if you eat very fat food before going to bed, or like meat in sauce, and you drink alcohol, we know that the digestion will be more difficult, and then you will have more difficulty to find your sleep. So dinner should be light, but you could have a bit of everything, of course, and not too much fat and alcohol on your dinner time.
Great, thanks. I'm just going to have a last question, and then we're going to move on to some of the questions on chat. But I know that we are in a multicultural, many people from different countries here, but obviously you're French, and the French are famous for, their healthy lifestyle, healthy eating. And especially I'm interested also in how you educate the children how to eat well, because, we know that you have, French children from young are taught about foods and how to eat. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience as a, French person and nutrition?
I would say that kids are exposed to nutrition very early in their education. So we talk about that at school. There is a week of nutrition, usually in October. So so we try to touch that part of their education very early. Then when you have kids, I think the best way to help them to have a healthy diet is to implicate them in the food. So take them to grocery shopping, take them to market, try to show them how a vegetable looks like before coming to your plate, involve them in cooking, in choosing the recipes. I think if they are part of the meal, I mean, if they are part of the cooking, of the planning, they will be very interested. And a kid doesn't have any idea of what things taste before they try it. So for example, if you eat everything at home and you make them taste it, I think they're gonna like it. But you have to force them maybe a bit at the beginning. But if they see that you are enjoying, I don't know, celery, radish, and things like that, they will try it. They will try it because they will see you trying it. Then I think it's always easier to give your kid a snack which is bought on the shop, because you don't have time and everything. So if you have a drawer full of candy, chocolate bars and crackers, I mean, this is the easiest way for you and for them to have a snack or to eat something where they are hungry. So don't buy that. If you don't buy it and you don't have it at home, you will not eat it. So when I was young, for example, I always have a piece of bread and a piece of chocolate and a glass of milk, for example, for my snack. And, you know, I was used to that, and I never ate like a chocolate bar and sweets and things like that. Now, of course, there is a birthday, there is a party, you are on holiday, you can give them that because it's easier, but it should not be the everyday snack. The everyday meal should be very healthy.
Mm-hmm. And then how about just French eating in general? Like any tips from that? Adults. Yeah.
I think it's more like the Mediterranean diet. So it's a lot of fish, it's a lot of vegetable, olive oil, fruits. Of course, we eat carbs, but we are more onto the vegetable oils, for example, that are from animal oils. We like to cook. We don't buy so much processed food. We don't, here it's very easy to have food delivered to your door like 24 hours a day, but it's not something that French people do easily. So of course we go to restaurants, of course we order food, but it's like maybe once a week or when you have a party with friends, but most of the time people cook at home, and it's less expensive as well. So yeah.
Great. All right. Thanks so much. So we only have 9 minutes. I think I'm going to do kind of like a speed through the chat questions. There are a lot of questions that came in. And if you're interested, you know, we can have another session on this. But let me just quickly read the questions. And Deborah, you just give us like a quick answer for each.
Okay.
So question 1. I read that natural fats, animal fats, are better for the body than vegetable oil. Is that true or false? I think that's false.
I would say false, but maybe there is a new study or something, but I'm not sure it's right now.
Okay. Which type of oil is best for frying? So I know that olive oil is not.
No, I would say sunflower oil, for example. It's good. Yeah, you can use that. Colza.
Sorry, what?
Colza.
Colza.
Canola oil? Canola
oil. Okay. Yeah. Okay. When you cook your food and keep it in the freezer, does it reduce the nutritional value of the food?
It's better to freeze your food uncooked.
Sorry, freeze the food and then?
Uncooked. I mean raw food.
Freeze uncooked. Don't freeze cooked food.
Yeah. Unfreeze cook and freeze and cooked food. Yeah.
Okay, but does it reduce the nutrition? Is it better to kind of just go often to the shop and buy raw food, or it's okay to sometimes kind of put it in the freezer?
Of course, it's better to go every day to the shop and buy fresh food, but I mean, in the reality, I'm not sure we can do that every day. So it's better to have frozen fish, frozen meat, frozen vegetable than to order a pizza.
Yeah. Okay. Any recommendations for vegetarians, how to be healthy? Is it very same as what you said? Is there anything special for vegetarians?
No, just be sure that you eat protein coming from vegetables. So you will need that to build your muscle. So tofu, lentils, it can be quinoa, millet, things like that. You know, this kind of grain, they are very rich in protein.
So just make sure you balance out. Yeah. It's just not all vegetable, but you have protein as well, beans and tofu and things like that. Okay. There are some questions around diabetes, but I think we will not have really time to go into that because that's a completely kind of different topic. So if there's interest, we can have a separate topic about that. And then let me just quickly take a look. In terms of people who are interested to put on weight, kind of what would you recommend? Just eat more, or do the opposite of what you said?
Yeah. So if you want to put on weight, you have to first analyze what you are eating. Why are you so skinny, for example? Is it because you cut on some kind of nutriment? Is it your body? People are thinner than others. This is, the natural law. You can't do anything for that. And then if you want to put weight on, I think you should go increase your intake of carbs and protein. But that doesn't mean you have to eat candy bars, chocolate bar, or increase your oil level. It's not that. It's the kind of nutriment you are eating. So if you eat carbs and protein, you will put some weight on. And the best thing is to eat a bit more and to exercise, because muscle is heavier than fat on the balance. So your body will be heavier and you will have muscle. So it's the best way to put weight on.
Mm-hmm. So a question about when we reheat food, like in a microwave and all that. So number one, does the nutritional value reduce when we reheat it? And secondly, is it bad to use a microwave versus other ways of reheating food?
Yes, microwave is not a natural way to reheat food, but there is no studies showing that if you reheat your food in microwave, it's bad for your health. Of course, you will lose a bit of nutriment, but when you cook on the stove, you also lose nutriment from the food, because you are modifying the food. You are modifying your protein, you are modifying your vegetable. So yes, every kind of transformation is a way to lose vitamins and minerals and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Question about how is the best way to measure whether we have healthy body weight. You have BMI, you have like fat measurement, you have hip to whatever waist ratio. What is the best way for us to measure?
So a BMI is a really good way to measure it. And then also what is very important is your waist circumference. You see, you can measure your waist at the belly button level. And with that, you can see if you have too much fat, adiposity on your abdomen, which is the bad fat, we can say. So this is another way to measure that if you are healthy or not.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next question. Why is it that as we get older, we find it harder to lose weight and seem to put on weight more easily?
I think there is a part of hormone responsibility on that. So when you are getting older, your hormones transform, and then you can put more weight on, or you can have more difficulty to lose weight. So this is something you can't really fight against. This is your metabolism, and we say usually if you don't gain weight, for women when they got into menopause, we say if you don't gain weight when you go into menopause, that means you are losing weight, because usually because of hormones imbalance, you put weight on. So try to exercise more when you're getting older. Not very violent or high intensity, but walking, running a bit, swimming, even golfing. You're walking for hours when you're golfing. It's a very good way to maintain your bones and your muscle.
Mm-hmm. Okay. There are questions around diabetes, high cholesterol, gout. So do you have any just really quick kind of recommendations for these three sort of conditions? What needs to be avoided? So for diabetes, for gout, and for high cholesterol.
So diabetic, I would say be careful with the free sugar. Mm-hmm. Yeah. After that, it depends if you're on insulin or not. it's not the same kind of a diet, but free sugar is the worst intake you could have because of insulin. When you have cholesterol, hypercholesterol, be aware of the fat and the fat which is hidden in some food. So animal fat brings you bad acid, bad fat, and vegetarian fat is better. Nuts are really good. So if you want to have an intake of fat, you can have nuts. And after that, it's the same. You should control your egg intake, for example. So we say 2 eggs per week if you have high level of cholesterol. And when you have this kind, if you are diabetic or if you have hypercholesterol, you should cook at home so you can be sure and manage exactly what you put in your plate. If you buy processed food, they always add sugar, they always add fat, they always add salt to make it taste better.
Okay, we're gonna have just one last minute. Can you explain about acidity and alkaline food? What's that all about? Do we need to be aware and balance that part?
Acidity and sorry?
Acid food and alkaline food, like the pH of foods.
Oh,
like
sorry.
More acidic type of food, yeah.
So when you eat a bit of everything, it will be automatically balanced in your body. So after that, there is some, when you eat a keto diet, for example, you will imbalance that acidic and alkaline food, and then it will cause damage to your stomach. So this is the only problem of that. So I know that people are doing blood tests to see if they are more alkaline or more acidic. I think this is more like a fashion diet, and this is not something I'm working with, and I don't really know how to explain or how to modify that. But to be honest, eat of everything, and you will be perfectly okay.
Okay, just quickly, tea and coffee, is it good to drink it?
It's good,
not too much,
but not too much, because it brings you, it's a diuretic drink. So if you eat, and if you drink, a lot of tea and coffee, you will pee more, and then you can get dehydrated. So water is the best drink to have.
Great.
And then careful about caffeine and thein, which can increase your heart rate. You can sweat, you can have a bad night because of that, because you get excited with those kind of drinks.
Okay, and then fish. Some people say that fish can be toxic because of the waters and all that. So, but at the same time, we should eat more fish. So what should we do?
If you can, and if you have access to organic fish, is better. We say that wild fish could be intoxicated by what they find in the ocean, and we say farm fish should be healthier, but you have to be sure of what they are eating too. So fish is generally better, brings better fat than meat, but always, if you can have organic food, is better, but not everybody can have access to that. It's more expensive, and in some country you don't have that. So we say 3 portions of fish, 2 portions of meat per week.
Okay, great. And then last question, we see a lot of food intolerance nowadays within kids and allergies and all that. What is the reason for that? And
probably
how do we avoid that?
So probably a change of the environment. So yeah, we have even when you are pregnant, what you eat influence on your baby. So we say it's coming from the water, it's coming from the air you are breathing. So yes, there is more intolerance, more allergy. Now, if you are allergic to a food, of course, avoid it. I mean, don't take it. If you are intolerant, sometimes you can take just a few of it and you won't have some so high reaction. You have to try and to see how you feel when you are eating this kind of food. Then you should do all the test allergy to be sure you are really allergic and not only intolerant. I mean, if you're intolerant, it's different. If you're allergic, you have to not take this kind of food. Now you can supply what you can't eat with everything, because there is a wide range of food. I mean, we can have access to so many kind of food. So if you can't eat nuts, the oil from the nuts, you can have it from something else. So it's not, I mean, you won't be unhealthy or you won't have any deficiency if you don't eat a food, one kind of nutriment.
Great. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Deborah Haiat.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your time and your wisdom and, all the advice that you have, and, a lot of interest, obviously, with so many questions coming in. If any of you have any questions, please feel free to send to the email address I just posted, DHMOSH publichealth@un.org, and we'll get back to you. And then if you're interested, we can also ask, send the questions to Deborah, who can answer.
Yeah, sure, of course. Of course.
So thank you everyone for this time.
Thank you.
We will do another session again on other topics. And if you have any topics that you're interested in, again, feel free to email this address, and feel free to invite your friends also. I mean, not your friends, your UN colleagues to join us. We have the recording available. If you want to share it with your colleagues, that's fine as well. But again, this is just a pilot that we're just starting out to try and see if we can get the UN community to be healthier, and that's part of our mandate in our team here. So thank you for joining in, and we will see you again another time. We will probably try to do this monthly, or if there's interest, maybe more than that, but probably we'll do the next one in May, probably. Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Deborah, for your time.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Ciao, ciao.
And I have to say bye to the 1,000 of Michael Elementals. Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Was very interesting. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.